Well, he's a familiar face to all of us here at Eyewitness News. Today, we are so happy and proud to welcome former host of Face the Nation, Bob Schieffer, to our set.
Yes, we are, Bob. It's always wonderful
Welcome.
to see you, and to see you in person is a treat. You've got a new book out. It's called Overload: Finding the Truth in Today's Deluge of News, and we all know there's a lot of it out there. We want to talk about some hot button issues in a second, but first, I was looking through here, reading through here, and you say that journalism, the state of journalism, is a national security issue. And I thought that got to the heart of what you're trying to talk about.
It really is, because we're so bombarded with so much information from so many sources now that it's very difficult to separate what's true and what's false and what's somewhere in between. And sometimes some of the news we're getting now that's false is false by design. These are propaganda sources, sometimes foreign propaganda sources. And trying to separate, you know, kind of the wheat from the chaff here is very, very difficult, even for those of us in the industry, as you all both know.
Absolutely.
And it is a national security issue, because if people can't depend on the news to know what's happening and what's true about what their country is doing, then that does weaken our democracy.
No doubt about it. In the news also, President Trump, Senator McCain, the feud. How real is it? Because as we saw in Jessica's report not too long ago, it got ugly.
What was it that that Donald Trump said today? He said, you know, I may have to fight back, and it won't
may
be
get
pretty.
ugly or won't get pretty, right?
Oh, I bet John McCain is scared to death. I bet he's shaking in his boots now. You know, one thing that Donald Trump, I didn't come on here just to a diatribe about Donald Trump. One thing he ought to remember, John McCain has been through a lot of things that are a lot more difficult than a real estate negotiation. I mean, he's faced the real bad guys. He's never been afraid. And I think John McCain, we need more John McCains in both parties, because people talk about political reforms. What we need today is political courage. People who are willing to take on these issues, whether or not they get a primary opponent.
Do you see that on the horizon? Is there anyone out there that can bring that courage?
Well, I wish John McCain were not 81. I think he is a good example of what needs to be happening here. You know, when I first came to Washington back in 1969, everybody knew each other. They lived in Washington. Their wives knew each other. The kids went to school together. They don't know each other at all now. It's a conversation, an argument among strangers, and that's one of the things that's really weakened our system of government. Another thing is all this is taking place while we're in the midst of this technology revolution in communications that is having, and I believe this, as profound effect on our time as the invention of the printing press did on the people of that day. And you know, we know all the good things that the printing press created.
Sure.
Literacy went up and all that, but we also had 30 years of religious wars after that, and it was 3 decades before Europe kind of reached some sort of equilibrium. We're right in what I call the first trimester of this revolution.
It is the beginning,
right
because
now.
you think about, too, social media, and you think about people, you hear about the Facebook stories and all these things that people click on, and maybe it's some website they've never heard of, but they think it looks real. Or, you know, how are these consumers, how are our viewers and the people consuming these stories supposed to know the difference?
When I started writing this book, I think it was 62%, and I think it may now be 67% of us now get at least some of our news off Facebook. Now that's fine, but what we have to understand is what pops up on Facebook hasn't gone through the vetting process that you folks do before you broadcast something. You don't put something on the air unless you're pretty convinced it's true. Same at CBS, same at mainstream newspapers. But more and more, as these newspapers around the country are having trouble finding an economic model because the advertising is going away to digital, we've lost 126 newspapers in the last 12 years. Those that are left, many of them are just shells of what they once were. They can't do investigative reporting. They can't do the things that we always expected from the local newspaper. And if we don't have some entity that is able to do what local newspapers, what we expected of them, and that is to keep an eye on public officials, we'll have corruption in this country at levels we've never seen before. That's where the real crisis is. The good news is some of the big papers like the Washington Post and the New York Times are reinventing themselves. And they are doing some great journalism now, and they're reaching a lot more people than they ever did when they were just putting out a paper newspaper.
You've done some amazing journalism over the years.
Thank you, my friend.
And it's
Thank you
all
so
in
much.
here
Right
in
there.
Overload by
Right
Bob
there.
Schieffer. It's a great read, and it's so interesting.
Thank
On
you
sale
so
right now.
much.
Bob, it's so good to see you.
Well, it's
Thank
great
you
to
for
be
coming
here in
through.
Philadelphia.
Family, right here.
Absolutely.
Bob Schieffer, thank you, sir.